Hi, welcome to Jamie's 4.0 Garage, where today we're going to be covering a little basic electrical soldering 101. Whether you're adding some LED lights to your trailer, landscape and trailer, car trailer, whatever the case may be, adding some pods to your off-road vehicle, or just changing a light socket that's gone bad over the years, with a few basic tools, a little patience, and a little time, you can make a good quality repair that will last a lifetime. So for starters, you're going to need the proper PPE so that you don't get hurt or get anything in your eye or breathe any fumes. You're going to want to work in a well-ventilated area, and you're going to need a few tools. You're going to need some wire, you're going to need some electrical tape, and you're going to need some heat shrink tubing. You're going to need some rosin core solder. Doesn't need flux. We're not doing a plumbing repair. We're going to need a soldering iron. If you choose to have a basic small one, you don't have to go spending $1 million. You can use a soldering gun, or you can use a high wattage medium duty soldering iron, or you can actually use a butane torch, depending on what you want to do. You're probably going to need a heat gun. If you don't have a heat gun, you can use a hairdryer. And you're going to need some wire strippers, no matter what kind you choose, some needle nose pliers, and some cutting pliers. And it would be nice if you had a little wet sponge that you can work with tinning the iron. So we're going to go over a couple things on how to do a good quality repair. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's going to last a long time for your enjoyment. So why are we using solder to splice? Well, we don't want to use wire nuts. That's for electrical and electricians for your home. We don't want to use crimp type butt connectors because water can get in there and usually not the best for long lasting repair. So we're going to actually solder these wires together. So for the first part, we're going to take our wire. We're going to strip it back about 1 inch with our wire strippers. And there's many different types. We just pull it back and we're going to rotate it and twist the wires together. And then we're going to take our other wire that we're going to splice to it. We're going to strip it back about 1 inch. Not the same thing. Hold it with our needle nose pliers. Strip it back. And we're going to twist it. And then we're going to end up twisting these two wires together. So we're going to take our two wires. And we're going to very carefully just rotate them and twist them together. So it's nice and clean and uniform. There's no gaps. It's pretty even. And then we're going to solder this together. In order to solder it, the key with soldering is you always heat the work, not the solder. So we're going to take a section of our rosin core solder out, and we're going to heat the work. And as the wire starts to heat up, we're going to gradually introduce some solder. We're not going to put the solder on the soldering iron. We're going to put it to the work, so to speak, or the wire. And you can see that the wire is actually absorbing the solder or sucking it up like a sponge. We don't want a cold solder joint, so we want to get nice and hot. We got our eye protection on and a mask. And then we're going to give it a little boom. We're going to tin our iron so it's good for next time. So this is a damp towel. And if you look at our connection, it's good. All the way around, the solder flows. That little bit of glossy yellowness is just the rosin core of the solder. It looks like a good joint. So we're good. It's nice and tight. Now we're going to take a little heat shrink tubing and we're going to slide a section of heat shrink tubing over our splice to keep water out. So we're going to cut what we need. We're going to slide the heat shrink tubing over our splice, and then we're just going to heat this with a heat gun. We have our wires soldered together. We're going to take our heat gun and we're going to apply heat to our heat shrink tubing, and it's going to take the heat shrink tubing and make it small and melt it to make a waterproof connection. We're just going to move it across. You can see it contracting, getting smaller. It's sealing it. And as it seals it, we're just going to rotate it around. Again, just a little patience and a little time. And then when we get a good seal, you're going to see some of the insulation or glue that's going to come out the sides, and that's going to ensure a watertight fit. You can see it's clear. Some companies it's yellow. And there we go. We have a complete job. We don't even need electrical tape unless we wanted to go one step further where we could tape it up around it. But with our heat shrink tubing, we just soldered two wires together in a matter of minutes for a perfect weather tight repair. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you all learned something, and I hope you can use this to help yourself with your projects that you may be working on in the garage or at home.